Welcome guys to another video. I'm going to be talking to you guys about the top 5 champions in the game right now, conceptually, not meta wise, but instead what are the cards that are probably really well designed, really fun to play, and super interesting, and maybe even flexible. First off, we're going to start off with Thresh, one of the OG cards. Challenge: if I've seen 6 units die, you level up 5 mana 6/7, and when he levels up, the first time I attack this game, summon another attacking champion from your deck or hand. Thresh is just so fun and it's a really good card because you can't speed run the early game, and Shadow Isles was really good for one of the reasons was Thresh was you just would have these really strong cards that you would just play, kill, and then when Thresh would come out, you would just keep that kind of thing going because you have ephemerals, and you might be holding on cards that have last breath, and you just kill them for draw power or this, that, or the other thing, right? And then you just attack with a big champion for free, like Trendemir was used. And I think that's just super underestimated, because you could have cards like Sejuani who can just flip by the time you play. You can pull her in with Thresh. And so this just leaves a lot of interesting combos with other champions and just craziness with Thresh. Obviously, the easy way to counter champions with him that have to see the units is just kill him, right? Hard removal. With 3 attack, it's pretty acceptable, but he does offer a lot of interesting play strategies. Even if you don't want to go the self-sacrifice right, you can go a more control route and kill their units. Next, number 4 is Fiora, 3 mana 3/2 challenger. Level up, I've killed 2 enemies, and then she becomes a 4/3, and if I killed 4 enemies and survived, you win the game. And I remember there was a time where Fiora and Shen was a deck, and you would have no other champions but them. Instead, you would just draw Fiora or Shen, play them, protect them, and just win the game by Fiora just killing units. And it was the most annoying, abominable thing ever. And it's just a fun strategy to play and super frustrating to play against because you know what they're trying to do and you have to play around it. But when you're playing it, you're kind of playing a puzzle and not the game. And when you are playing a deck like that, it gets exponentially more fun just because you're just on a side quest, it feels like, you know. And that's why Fiora is fun and belongs here, is that you're playing the game in a different way than people would expect. Sejuani, 6 mana 5/6, third best card in my opinion. Play given enemy frostbite and vulnerable this round. Level up, you've damaged the enemy's nexus 5 different rounds, and then when she flips, each round the first time you've damaged the enemy nexus, frostbite all enemies. I guess this goes without saying, this card has 2 parts. Besides the fact that in terms of mana and power and health, really high, but playing it and getting frostbite and vulnerable for 6 mana is super valuable and super useful. But also when she flips and each round, the first time you damage the enemy nexus, frostbite all enemies, there's so many cards that can enable this. You can do Teemo or just Piltover Zon in general. Noxus is really well at doing this. You could do Ionia Elusive and have someone with first strike and then just allow them to hit first and everyone else gets frostbite. You don't have to worry about trading. There's just so many sneaky things that you can do, or you can just go with the most obvious route ever and just have a big creature with Overwhelm blow through the first unit and then everyone else is safe. Sejuani is just a brute force, super simple, super strong card, and you gotta respect the hustle. And to combine with that is Ashe. When she attacks, Frostbite the strongest enemy. You've reduced the power of 4 enemies to 0. When I level up, create a crystal arrow on top of the deck. And then when she levels up, Frostbite the strongest enemy. Enemies with 0 power can't block. And then her arrow is an enemy, Frostbite an enemy, and all other enemies with 3 or less health. And then draw 1. And only for 2 mana. It is slow, so it is counterable. However, Ashe is one of the champions that have a ability that is very self-sustaining. And she reminds me of Miss Fortune, where she attacks and then the damage kind of covers her. However, with Ashe, just that hard Frostbite ability, I feel like that is very frustrating than damage, because, with someone like Miss Fortune, you have 1 to 3 health you can take off. But with Ashe, you're just taking away the power. You're whittling down their strongest enemy. And you can rally and attack multiple times, gain Frostbite and constant enemies. Super strong because of the self-reliance Ashe has. And I believe that is super important, especially considering that a lot of champions have to be enabled. And so I think Ashe is the best champion that doesn't have to be enabled, but instead can be her own level up, trigger, right? She can level herself up. That's super strong, and I think she's the best at doing it, because normally other people are a little bit weaker in my opinion. But this is all just my opinion after all. Nothing super scientific. I keep saying super, and I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about these thoughts, right? And then 2 honorable mentions is Annie and Jhin. Both these cards are brand new at the time, and I believe that they will be some of the best cards in the game right now. I'm just going to hold off on them for a moment just to see how the game progresses. But I want to mention to you them because I think Jin's concept of being a Rotarian and you can add anyone with a skill is ridiculous. And then Annie's low cost, dealing 2 damage to its blocker before damage is dealt on a 1 mana card is also ridiculous. And so these are just 2 high value cards that are probably going to be top 10, probably going to be taking the spots of Thresh and Fiora and rearranging this. But the number 1 card is Ezreal. I think I talked to a couple of people and they were like Draven. But when I thought back, Ezreal was like the real hard-hitting part of that duo when they were a deck together. And it's because he's a 3-mana 1/3, elusive, Nexus Strike, creating a fleeting mystic shot, which if you didn't see my top 10 list, spoiler alert, of all the cards in the game, excluding champions, Mystic Shot was one of the top 10. And you get a free one for just hitting the Nexus. And you've targeted enemies 6+ times. Then he levels up. And when you cast a spell, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. And if it target an enemy, deal 2 to the enemy's Nexus instead. If you cast a spell, deal 1 to the enemy's Nexus. If you target an enemy, deal 2 to the enemy's Nexus instead. Sorry, I just read that weirdly. But just a lot of damage going to the Nexus. And becoming a 2/4, he gets out of that 3 health range where a lot of burn spells can kill him. And being at 4, he's really safe. He's still elusive. And because of how much burn is in Piltover Zon, he can cover himself, right? So you can spend your burn killing the elusive cards, having him hit the Nexus to get more to get a Mystic Shot to then burn other cards, and you still damage the Nexus. Just one of the biggest reasons why Piltover Zon and Noxus was one of the deadliest decks in the game for set after set after set is because they just couldn't make cards to top what Ezreal can do. And at one point, Ezreal Karma was the biggest thing, and you just have Ezreal, and Karma would just double cast stuff, and so you would just have all of these Nexus damage procs come out. Because you just need to target an enemy with something, and then you just deal 2. So you could be buffing the enemy, and you'd be just dealing 2 to their Nexus. So it's super ridiculous, super strong. And I really do believe Ezreal belongs in this first place spot, because Ezreal is like Jace to me in Magic the Gathering, but instead of having draw power, it's just constant burn, and because it's basically unblockable, kind of, you have to have built-in answers for it, such as removal. A lot of people try to get around not having removal, but it's just the facts of the game. This is going to be super frustrating to deal with. And that's the top 10 champions in the game right now. In my opinion, conceptually, this is not meta once again. This is just looking at the game outside of everything. Because I feel like the meta is constantly shifting. But at the end of the day, these champions and the cards from the last video, their abilities and their concepts are going to stay are going to stay the same throughout the game, and they're going to keep popping up and rotating in and out. And there's a lot of cards, such as this one or this one, that we just never see or care about. But with that being said, thank you for watching. Let me know if I should have put another champion on this list, because I believe they have 83 of them now. So lowering it down to 5 was pretty challenging. Also, I didn't want to do top 10, because then I felt like that was going to get really nitpicky. I feel like 5 was a good number. It's all of the older cards, I realize that. But let me know what you think are the 5 best cards, or what is the best card in the game. But until then, I might make an update video if I see some interesting answers. See you next time. Bye.